There is a storm brewing in Indian cricket, and Virat Kohli, arguably the best batsman of his generation, finds himself in the middle of it. It all started with the legendary Kapil Dev stating that on form, Virat doesn't merit a place in the Indian T20 setup. It was followed by another Indian bowler in Venkatesh Prasad asking that if in the past some big names like Anil Kumble could be made to sit on the bench, then why mustn't the same standards be applied to Virat Kohli as well? In the midst of all this comes Rohit Sharma's reply. The Indian captain has come out and backed his out-of-form star batter, whilst also terming all the criticism by former players as outside noise.
And now down the wicket, but he's hold it. What a catch!
The clamour is growing.
Gleeson has two.
The best batsman of his generation is under immense pressure to keep his place in the Indian team. Form and runs have deserted Virat Kohli, and now he has started to lose support too. It's been 77 international innings since Virat scored his last century, which came way back in November 2019. But the problem is not just with the centuries, but the runs that have dried up considerably across formats, and also the strike rate at which those runs have been coming, especially in the shorter formats. Now with the T20 World Cup just 3 months away, there is a school of thought that insists that Virat doesn't merit a place in the T20 side. The numbers though paint a different picture, at least in T20 internationals. Since 2021, Virat has played 8 innings in T20Is with an average of over 47 and a modest strike rate of 130.7. But in the 2 IPL seasons in that period, his 29 innings have fetched just 746 runs at an average of 25.72 and a strike rate of 117.7. His numbers in Tests and ODIs though are worse and nothing compared to what they were before 2020. Former India skipper Kapil Dev was one of those who think that Virat Kohli doesn't deserve a place in the Indian team. He said, and I quote, "If world number 2 test bowler Ashwin can be dropped from test side, then your number 1 batter can also be dropped. If he isn't performing, you can't continue to keep the youngsters out." Kapil Dev's viewpoint was also endorsed by former India pacer Venkatesh Prasad, who, without taking Virat's name, said in his tweet, "The yardsticks seem to have changed drastically now, where there is rest for being out of form. This is no way for progress. There is so much talent in the country and cannot play on reputation. One of India's greatest match winners, Anil Kumble, sat out on so many occasions, need actions for the larger good." However, these are voices coming from outside the dressing room. What does the team management think of the current situation with regards to Virat Kohli?
एक्सपर्ट लोग मुझे पता नहीं कौन है, एक्सपर्ट क्यों बोला जाता है उनको, मुझे वो नहीं समझ में आता है। नहीं, देखिए वो बाहर से गेम देख रहे हैं, उनको पता नहीं अंदर क्या चल रहा है। ये हम हमेशा हमें ध्यान में रखना चाहिए। जब आप ऐसे कमेंट्स बाहर निकलते हैं तो ये चीज ध्यान में रखना चाहिए कि प्लेयर का क्वालिटी कभी खराब नहीं होता, तो वो उस क्वालिटी को बैक किया जाता है क्योंकि प्लेयर के पास क्वालिटी है और हम वो क्वालिटी देख के प्लेयर को बैक करते हैं। और ये मेरे साथ हुआ है, XYZ के साथ हुआ है, सबके साथ हुआ है, तो उसमें कोई नई बात नहीं है।
For a man who could do nothing wrong on the cricket field just a few years ago, Virat's place in the Indian team has become the biggest talking point now. Surely for what he has achieved for Indian cricket, Virat deserves a long rope. But the question is, when will that rope and patience end? Sports Bureau, India Today.
Right, joining us on the show, Sunil Gavaskar joins us live from London. We'll also be joined by Vimal Kumar, our correspondent who's covering this series. He was at that press conference and asked that question to Rohit Sharma that's making all the headlines. Sunil, I'll start with you. What do you reckon? Is time running out for Virat Kohli in the T20 format only? I'm only referring to the T20 format. We all know how useful he's going to be for the Indian team in Test cricket as well as ODIs.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I haven't really watched any cricket over the last maybe what has happened in England. I haven't watched at all because I've been in USA for some fundraisers for the foundation, the Heart to Heart Foundation. I haven't been able to keep in touch with the game, and even when I came to England, I've been mainly at Wimbledon rather than the cricket, because cricket happens every day, but going to Wimbledon is once a year. So I haven't really watched, so I don't know. I don't know exactly what's been happening. So I don't know. I don't really know what to say.
But I'm just saying, I understand, and I'm not going to get into the technicalities and, how Virat is batting, because as you make the point that you may not have seen, how Virat has been batting. But, there's been scores of low scores, even the last two T20s that he played, hasn't got a lot of runs there. And you know that before that, while you were covering the cricket or when you were commentating, you knew that there has been a long dry patch that he's had, whether it was the IPL. And I'm going to include the IPL because at the end of the day, it's a T20 format. IPL is off the international level. Just looking at numbers, he's averaging close to 30 with a strike rate of 20 from 2021 in both T20Is and IPL combined. Do you think, keeping that in mind and this being the T20 World Cup, does he merit a place in the team?
Don't we have a few matches to go before the team is selected for the World Cup?
About 16, 17.
I think we have a few matches to go, so yeah. Why don't we wait till then? Because that'll give us an idea of what kind of form he is in. Yes, he has not got runs, but he's not the only one who hasn't got runs. As far as I know, Rishabh Pant, Rohit Sharma didn't get too many runs in the IPL either. So let's not focus only on one person. Yes, he's been one of our greatest batsmen over the last decade and a half, and he's performed absolutely brilliantly. And therefore, I do understand that sometimes the focus is on him. But when you're talking about a team environment, let's look at everybody else as well, and let's not single out a person. And therefore, I'm saying that let's wait till the next few matches are done, because there's another, I think, a five or six match T20 series against the West Indies. There's going to be the Asia Cup, after which you can actually announce a team, because since our first match is on the 23rd of October, I do believe that you can announce a team till the 20 of October, by which time I think the Asia Cup will also have been finished, and maybe a couple of matches against the Australian team, which is visiting India mid-September. That will have also finished for T20 series. So I think let's just wait. Let's not be in a rush to take decisions. In any case, it's not our job. The selection committee is there to take a call on that.
Yeah, absolutely. As Saivai there puts it into perspective, there's enough T20 cricket to be played ahead of that T20 World Cup. But just, as you mentioned, Saivai, that he should be playing. There's going to be 5 T20s in the West Indies. The team for that is going to be announced. We don't know whether Virat will be going there or not. But what we do know for sure at the moment, that he's not part of the 3 ODIs that will be played in the West Indies. Are you a bit surprised with that, considering that he's not been informed? I was looking at Irfan Pathan tweet the other day. He said nobody comes back to form by resting. You can only get your form back if you're playing. One-day cricket, many believe, could be the best format for him to, strike gold, to get back into form. Are you then surprised that he's not part of that squad that is going to the West Indies, at least to the first 3 ODIs are concerned?
Well, looking at his record, he's got 43 or 44 centuries in one-day cricket. So it definitely is a surprise that he's not part of the team. Now, whether he has been rested or he has been left out of the team, that is only something that the selection committee can answer. But that's a format that he and the Test format is where he really has been outstanding for the last decade or so, and therefore for him to miss out on that is not doing him any favors, because the longer the format, the more opportunities you have to play yourself in, and then assess what the pitch is doing, see what the bowlers are doing, see what the ball is doing, and then maybe able to play your shots accordingly.
All right, Saivai, stay on with us. We'll get back and get some more perspective from you. But amid the growing chorus about Virat and his position in the Indian T20 team, what mustn't be forgotten is that for every voice that is questioning his place in the side, there are also those analysts that are backing him to come good sooner or later. Here are a few more former cricketers weighing in on the Virat Kohli debate.
Obviously, there is so much of competition in this current era of cricket. If you are not performing on 1 or 2 innings, however experienced you might be, you see the selection committee takes a call and says, yes, that's it, go back to your domestic cricket, come back into your form, and then we will see whether we can get you into the Indian team again at all or not.
It depends how you want to play. So, like I feel you have a choice. It's a tough one to make. But if I had to pick a 2020 side, Virat Kohli probably won't be in the side.
वही विराट कोहली की फॉर्म की बात, हाँ, ये हम कह सकते हैं उनकी फॉर्म नहीं है, बट उन्होंने इतना अपनी रेपुटेशन बनाए रखी है, इतना परफॉर्म किया है इंडियन टीम के लिए, इतने बार मैच जिताए हैं अपनी परफॉर्मेंस से, हमें उनको एज इन बैक करना जरूरी चाहिए, क्योंकि ऐसे प्लेयर को आपको पता है कि मैच विनर हैं और हमेशा डिफिकल्ट टाइम पे वो हमेशा उन्होंने परफॉर्म किया है, अच्छे मैच डिफिकल्ट टाइम पे जिताए हैं.
All right, Sunil Gavaskar still with us, but before that, I'll go to Vimal Kumar, who joins us live from London. He's been covering the series for us. Vimal, tell us the first thing that really stands out from that press conference of Rohit Sharma. He spoke about experts, and he said, who are these experts? Why do you even call them experts? Who was he referring to? Did he mean by that former cricketers who raised their voice and actually said that maybe Virat doesn't merit a place in the T20 team? Who was he referring to when he said, don't call them experts?
Nikhil, if you could see me, is it all right?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, Nikhil, it's an honor to share the same frame with Mr. Sunil Gavaskar almost after a decade. So thank you for this opportunity. And yes, I was the one who asked this question. And Nikhil, trust me, there are not too many journalists, and somebody pointed it to me that why you are asking that question. While some journalists were offended by this question, but Rohit was cool. And in fact, once the press conference was over, he was very relaxed. And you know, his point was, he is clearly, Rohit Sharma, the way he backed Virat Kohli, that is what you expect from a leader. When you're talking about the expert thing, he clearly mentioned about the media experts. He did not mention, he did not mean Kapil Dev or any other expert. He respects all the former players, and he said they are entitled to their opinions, even though they are not privy to whatever happens in team meeting. But yes, clearly, when he said that, I don't care about the outside noise, it is us, the media, the people who are talking about that. So that's fine with us. But one thing, I was listening to Mr. Gavaskar, and that's a very fair point. Virat, if you look at it, in many ways, Nikhil, it has put team management in a catch-22 situation. There can be fierce argument from both sides. If you want to drop Virat, there is a strong evidence, if you look at over the last few months, few years, that he has not been the same Virat in T20 international or T20 format. If you look at the team management's thinking, Rohit, Virat, KL Rahul, the similar kind of players, they can't be part of the middle order. If all three can't be part of the franchisee, how can they be part of the Indian team? And remember, that's the one reason which cost us the last World Cup. India has not been learning from it what it did. See, the flamboyance, the exuberance of youth won us the first World Cup, when the greats of the game like Tendulkar, Ganguly and Dravid, they were left out from the team. We have been making this mistake, going by the reputation, I know. And I will go by this Australian way of thinking, the ruthless mindset. The team is first, no matter who it is. So, but the good thing is, how can you ignore someone like Virat Kohli? He is close to averaging 50 all season, all format players across India, the biggest brand of the team. Australia, his record is outstanding. So basically, when we are debating about Virat Kohli, we are putting Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma in a very, very difficult situation, because trust me, whatever decision they will take, they are going to get flack for that.
Okay, Vimal, stay on with us. Very interesting points that he's made. I'll come back to Vimal. Saimai, coming to you, we heard from Rohit Sharma, we heard the press conference. When he was referring to experts, as Vimal is pointing out, he was talking about the media. But then when he was asked a pointed question about, let's say, someone like a Kapil Dev pointing out that, listen, rules are rules for everyone. You know, if top players could have been dropped, then the same standard should apply to Virat Kohli as well. In response to that, what Rohit said that, see, you know, these former players may be talking from the outside. They don't know what we are thinking inside, and the team management has a different thought process, which is a fair point. But do you reckon that sometime the outside point of view, and people should be receptive to that, because sometimes the outside point of view is a 360-degree view. Sometimes when you're within the team, you tend to get involved with, you know, tactical decisions, playing 11 decisions, and sometimes, whether it is former players or, you know, cricket writers, whoever that might be, when they observe something from the outside, maybe something that you can pay heed to?
Well, I think what Rohit is referring to clearly means that, you know, whatever tactics are discussed within the four walls of the change room, of the dressing room, are something that only they know, that they cannot be outside, because then the opposition will know. what the tactics are, what the planning is. So that is absolutely fair enough. And that should not also should not be also coming out in the open, because that's not going to help the team. And over there, I think they might have been discussing that this is the way to go, this is the way we are looking at it, this is the way that a batsman must approach the first 6 overs, the first 7 overs. Because we want to maximize as many runs as we can while the field restrictions of just 2 fielders outside the 30-meter circle are around. Because that is where sometimes matches are won or lost. When we have a look at, I mean, even when you lose wickets, you tend to sort of go on the back foot, and it's difficult to recover. So you've got to balance those first 6 overs. How often have we been saying in the IPL, the power play is so important. Power play, whether the team is defending, power play when the team is chasing. We keep saying that so often. So I think that's an important aspect, and that's something which only within the team you will know. From the outside, you sometimes see, and you're not aware as to what the players have been told. The players might have been told, go bang bang from the first ball, and you see that in 1996.
Sorry, just to interrupt you, just because you make that point about that players may have been told to go bang bang. We've read reports that might be the case. We've seen the Indian team play like that in the last few ODIs. It's clear now that they're playing a different template. Rohit Sharma made it a point to point that out as well. They are going bang bang from the first batsman till 6, 7, whatever. In a situation like this, do you think this is the kind of tactic that might suit a Virat Kohli, or think he's not best suited to that, because he's always been the fulcrum? He's the kind of batsman that will take his time to get going, even in T20. But if the Indian team is going to have this template, is he best suited to be part of an Indian team like this?
That, I think a few more matches will find out, because this is something the Indian team has adopted since the India South Africa series last month.
Yes.
When South Africa came and played five T20 matches, that's where we first saw this template being used. Before that, we hadn't really seen it. So we need to give ourselves a little more time to be able to see who fits in and who doesn't fit in. Like I said, there are these 5 T20 games against the West Indies. Then there's the Asia Cup, I think, which will be another 5 or 6 T20 games. So I do believe that these are enough matches to be able to make out, who's suited for it or who's not suited for it.
Right.
Finally, I'm not going to go into individual names over there.
Sure, Sunny bhai. Finally, before I wrap up, Vimal, one comment from you. We've been talking about Virat Kohli, and I spoke about template to Sunny bhai. You've seen it up close. We've never seen Virat play like this. We've seen him play a lot of T20 cricket, not this way, that he's going, all out attacking from ball 1. Clearly, this is the kind of template that the Indian team wants to follow. What does that tell you observing? Is he under pressure to be performing in the template that the team wants him to? You also observe him off the field when he's at practice. Are you, for the first time, seeing that he may be under pressure to keep his position in the team?
I think you are absolutely spot on, Nikhil. Even though he looks like his old contract, self-himself, more accessible, but the fact is that Virat has never been in this kind of situation. Look, listen, that this Indian team, the role, the opener's role, going from the word go, you have Rishabh Pant or Ishan Kishan along with Rohit Sharma. That position is secured. You have death over destroyers where you have Hardik Pandya, Dinesh Karthik. Now you have a middle order where you need somebody who is active, proactive from the word go, which is Surya Kumar Yadav, Dinesh Huda. Right. Where does Virat Kohli fits in? Is he the opener in the mood of Rohit Sharma or Pant, or a death over destroyer or a middle order? So this is something he finds himself in unfamiliar territory. But the good thing is, as Mr. Gavaskar says, that he's too good a player, too great a player, right, not to sort this issue out.
Right. Vimal, unfortunately, completely out of time, but thanks so much for joining us from London. Sunny bhai, thank you, as always, for giving us that perspective. And just to, sum up what Sunny bhai was saying, that yes, there are question marks over Virat Kohli's form, especially, as I mentioned again, in the T20 format. But then India has got a few T20 games to go. I think what really one needs to keep an eye out on is the West Indies tour, and when the T20 team for that would be announced. If Virat Kohli is not part of that T20 team, then I think the alarm bells will be ringing. That's all the time that we have on this broadcast. Thanks so much for joining. Those news and updates continue on India Today.